The Dallas Mavericks continue their winning ways after getting a 124-97 beatdown over the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is the Gray Area right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. The Dallas Mavericks beat up on the Cleveland Cavaliers for the second time in 3 days, this time getting a 124-97 win over the Cavs as they move now to a season-high 12 games over 500 at 40-28 on the season. Now 21-13 on the road, the third best road record in all of the NBA. The Mavericks had 5 guys in double figures, including Tim Hardaway Jr., who had a game-high 25 points for the Mavericks. He continues to shoot the ball extremely well from the field and from the three-point line in his last 6 games, averaging 27 points per game, shooting well over 50% from the field and from the three-point line, at least 20 points in 5 of his last 6 games for the Dallas Mavericks, who are now 31-14 in their last 45 games after a 9-14 start. At one point in this season, losing 10 of 13 games, at one point losing 6 straight, and found themselves 14th in the Western Conference. They are firmly in the 5th seed right now with 4 games to go, as this team is now a full game ahead of the Portland Trail Blazers and 2 full games ahead of the Los Angeles Lakers. They are now 14-0 this season when they hold opponents to under 100 points in a basketball game, and things got started for them early and often, especially on the defensive end. Dwight Powell was terrific in this game for the Dallas Mavericks. 12 points, 4 blocks, 9 rebounds, and a steal. He was the defensive player of the game as he continues to play well on both ends of the floor with his efficient rim running and the energy and hustle on the defensive end. But this game took a strange turn, especially in the third quarter, where Luka Doncic, who finished with 15 points in this game, early on in the third was jousting with Collin Sexton to try and get a rebound. Collin Sexton gave Luka Doncic a little bit of a shove that Doncic didn't necessarily appreciate, and Doncic in turn turned and swung and hit Collin Sexton in the groin area. Now, the review initially was to see if a foul had occurred before a shot clock violation. That turned into a 5-minute review where it was determined by referees that Luka Doncic had committed a quote-unquote hostile act and thus was assessed a flagrant 2 and then tossed from the game against the Cavs. Luka Doncic was clearly miffed when you saw his facial expressions and reaction to the fact that he had been thrown out of this game due to the flagrant 2 that was assessed to him. He was asked after the game about what he felt happened during the play and what ultimately happened with him getting tossed. Here's what Luka Doncic had to say.
After I saw the video, I knew I hit him, but it wasn't nothing on purpose. I think that kind of stuff happens a lot in the games, but I don't know. That's my explanation. It obviously wasn't on purpose, just 2 guys fighting for a rebound, I guess.
So Luka Doncic saying, look, I don't know what happened. All I know is that they were reviewing something for a foul potentially before the shot clock violation, and then all of a sudden I get assessed a flagrant 2 and I get tossed. So don't worry. It doesn't affect his technical foul count. He still is at 15 technical fouls for the season. He was assessed a flagrant 2, given the rest of the night off, and it didn't necessarily matter because the Mavericks in that third quarter, once he was ejected, won on a 30-15 run. Jalen Brunson had 8 points in the third quarter. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 13 points to help the Dallas Mavericks continue to extend their lead in that third quarter. So the Mavericks now, as we continue to move this forward, move to 20-9 this season versus the Eastern Conference, the third best record amongst Western Conference teams this year against the East. They've won 6 straight games against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and with 4 games left, continuing with playing with the kind of confidence that you've seen them play now with over the last couple of weeks. If this team hadn't lost 3 games to the Sacramento Kings during this span, you're talking about a team that could be winning 12, 13 games in a row. But hey, every team has its kryptonite during a regular season, and for this season for the Mavericks, it happened to be the Sacramento Kings. But now for the Mavericks, as they continue to move forward, Josh Richardson playing some of his better basketball. he continues to bounce back from what happened in Miami, where he was benched to start the second half in favor of Josh Green, who was playing extremely well for the Mavericks in that game in Miami, where Tim Hardaway went and hit a franchise record, tying a franchise record with 10 threes in that game. Here is Josh Richardson after the game talking about what he has been doing since then to turn up the intensity and the focus in terms of his game and in practice to ensure that he is playing his best basketball for the Mavericks during the rest of this regular season. Here's what Josh Richardson had to say.
I don't know, man. I think I've taken, my training and my practice to another level. I've been in the gym a lot more than I would normally would be. And because I take things personal when I'm not playing, up to how I want to be, then I'm harder on myself than anybody else could be. So I just say it's a testament to my work, and I'm just going to keep doing it.
So Josh Richardson saying, look, I had to turn up the focus and the intensity on my practice, on my effort to ensure that I was doing everything that I can to help this Mavericks team continue to win games going forward. And they're going to need his perimeter defense continuing to go down the stretch as we start looking toward the playoffs and looking at the final 4 regular season games that they have. They're going to be on the road against the Memphis Grizzlies before returning home to take on the Pelicans and the Toronto Raptors of Tampa Bay before finishing up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Josh Richardson is going to be key for them to continue to play really good perimeter defense, where now this Mavericks team on the season are now 14-0 this season when they hold opponents to under 100 points in a game. They are now also 25-0 when they lead after the first quarter. We know that the story of this season for the Mavericks has been when they are leading at the end of the first quarter, you can guarantee them a win, literally. And when the defensive energy continues to translate the way that it did against the Cleveland Cavaliers, Collin Sexton struggled in this game. Multiple players for the Cleveland Cavaliers struggled, obviously, because they're just a bad basketball team. But at the same time, you want to see this team continue to progress on both ends of the floor, playing with the kind of intensity and fire, both on offense and on defense, that gives you confidence that this team can continue to play well. As I mentioned, Tim Hardaway Jr. continues to be flat out spectacular for the Dallas Mavericks as he continues to shoot the ball well from the field and from the three-point line. Here is Tim Hardaway Jr. talking about what he has continued to do to ensure that he is staying in the quote-unquote zone so that he continues to shoot the ball the way that he has been lately for the Dallas Mavericks. Here's what Tim Hardaway Jr. had to say after the game.
It feels good, but it also helps when, your guys are finding you and they're setting off ball screens for you, making sure you get open. It's just a great want and trying to, sacrifice to get your shooters open. And that's what the guys are doing. And they realize it. And, I thank them 100%. The Wipeout, Trill, all the bigs that are in, the passes are great, but I'm running down the floor and I'm yelling at them, great screen for getting me open. So without them, a lot of those shots are impossible.
So Tim Hardaway Jr. saying, look, man, when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. And when your teammates are finding you and giving you the confidence to continue to shoot the ball from the three-point line the way that he has been able to do so, he creates a whole different dynamic from this team. And what you've seen throughout this 45-game stretch for the Mavericks, it's been different guys on different nights being able to step up and play well for this Mavericks team in support of Luka Doncic as they continue to move forward. There was no Maxi Kleber in this game, who continues to deal with Achilles soreness. Kristaps Porzingis also out in this game, but encouraging news potentially coming as he's meeting with the media on Monday ahead of Tuesday's game against the Memphis Grizzlies, which could mean and signal the return of the unicorn Kristaps Porzingis for this Mavericks team, who, yes, you could say have been playing well without him, playing well on both ends of the floor. Maybe some of that is a byproduct of the schedule that they've had, but they've beaten teams like the Brooklyn Nets in that span without Kristaps Porzingis. But for this team to go where they need to go as far as being a legitimate potential contender in the Western Conference, they're going to need a healthy Kristaps Porzingis in the playoffs. The matchup that they could have against the Denver Nuggets is much more favorable to the Mavericks when Kristaps Porzingis is able to play in that series with his ability to stretch the bigs from the three-point line, pull Jokic out from the lane, and be able to hit the ball from the three-point line. Porzingis is going to be extremely important. Maxi Kleber, you're hoping, can come back and provide the defensive energy and his ability to shoot from the three-point line. That's going to be extremely important for the Mavericks, too, as they get ready to head into the playoffs. But for this team to lose Luka Doncic, to still have 5 guys in double figures, where you had guys like Jalen Brunson and others continue to play well for this Mavericks team, Jalen Brunson finding himself a little bit more over these last couple of weeks, getting back to some of the 6th man of the year potential candidacy that he had earlier in this year. This Mavericks team is hitting its stride at the right time of the season and continuing to do so by beating up on teams they're supposed to, but also handling their business against teams like the Brooklyn Nets, where you, got torched by Kyrie Irving for 45 points, but you held down Kevin Durant to just 20 points on 7 of 21 shooting when Dorian Finney-Smith did the terrific job that he did. Defensively, as this team continues to improve going forward, they will find themselves competing, hopefully with an opportunity to move forward as far as the playoffs are concerned. They led by as many as 30 in this game. Even Boban Marjanovic hit a three-pointer in the fourth quarter. It was that kind of night for the Dallas Mavericks as they beat up on the Cleveland Cavaliers for the second time in 3 days, this time with a 124-97 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. As we spin this forward on the road against the Memphis Grizzlies before returning home to take on the New Orleans Pelicans and the Toronto Raptors before ending their season this coming Sunday against the Minnesota Timberwolves before they are able to get a week off once they secure a top 6 seed. The magic number to avoid the play-in tournament is now at just 2 games, and now they have an opportunity to handle their own business, and maybe the return of Kristaps Porzingis is coming in short order to help them move forward to try and get an opportunity to clinch a top 6 seed and get ready for this year's NBA playoffs. It's been a roller coaster season for this Mavericks team, but they are playing their best basketball right now, and they're continuing to do so, and they dominate the Cleveland Cavaliers for the second time in 3 days with a 124-97 win. We'll let you know and give you updates as far as Kristaps Porzingis is concerned when they become available. Be sure to hit the notifications button so you get all the notifications when the videos drop, and don't forget to subscribe right here to Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. The Dallas Mavericks get a 124-97 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers, now 31-14 in their last 45 games, now a season-high 12 games above 500. This has been another episode of The Gray Area. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. We'll talk to you later. Peace.